Morning, good morning, and good Monday to everyone, and welcome to this April 10th session of the OBX Wave Report. I am Robert Scribbler, your reporter on all things waves, weather, climate, and the beaches for the Outer Banks and beyond. And for today, I am going to get into a little bit of preamble discussion of a major series of positive moves forward for clean energy across the United States, mainly focusing on electric vehicles being one of the key components to the energy transition that will tamp down the burning of fossil fuels and if it happens rapidly enough, save our coastlines from rising sea levels and the more intense storms driven by climate change, which itself is authored by fossil fuel burning. I know I use the term authored. It's a little bit of an awkward term, but being a writer, yeah, authored probably fits. In any case, let's get into what's going on with regards to EVs. And in the United States, the main player for EV production is Tesla. Tesla is a 100% clean energy company with the stated goal of helping to transition the world to clean energy rapidly. And it's a pretty unique corporation in the sense that it is not reliant on fossil fuels for any of its offerings, meaning that it only produces clean energy systems, electric vehicles, solar panels, and energy storage systems that link up to clean energy. And as such, there were a lot of naysayers that said, oh, well, it couldn't work, it could never really happen. But good money got invested into Tesla, and Tesla is now a behemoth on the global market, and it has the regular makers scrambling to catch up, and even massive state-sponsored corporations over in China are having trouble keeping up with the new tech that Tesla is putting out. And one of the new offerings coming out from Tesla is the Semi. And right now, Tesla has sold its first batch of 100 to Pepsi, which is now starting to use these trucks for deliveries. And the Tesla Semi has a range of around 500 miles, all electric range, and is projected to save more than 20% on fueling costs. Fuel is actually the major cost for shipping, it's not the truck itself. So, with the price of the Semi being competitive with other trucks, although a little bit more expensive than your typical rig, uh, the main cost being fuel and having so much potential fuel savings for shipping things like soda cans, in this case for Pepsi, or I think it's also it's Pepsi and Frito-Lay, I believe, are receiving these new semis, and they now stand to save lots of money on shipping costs. And this being also an entrant into the high carbon emission shipping industry, this could really be the spearhead to starting to reduce emissions in shipping for the United States and around the world. So that is good news for climate. Um, I am talking a lot about Tesla right now, but we're going to pivot after we talk about the Cybertruck. So the Cybertruck is projected to come out in 2023 for limited production. And this is very exciting for those who have followed Tesla and are interested in getting a Cybertruck. I believe there are hundreds of thousands of pre-orders for this beautiful beast. I myself am very interested in the Cybertruck. It looks like a fantastic vehicle. I will admit that Elon Musk's recent antics on Twitter have made me more interested in other electric vehicle offerings. I don't want to be spending money to help fund Elon Musk's, dominance games, weirdo kind of bizarre things that are going on in social media. But at the same time, I really do love Tesla, so I kind of have a love-hate relationship now, meaning that I'm not happy with Musk, but I'm still very happy with Tesla. So my love of Tesla may still make me want the Cybertruck. Well, we shall see. Even if I am in the financial position to get one, because these things are pretty expensive. But in any case, very attractive, very efficient, just an amazing wonder of engineering, and I'm really excited about that. But it is worth noting for you truck lovers out there that the major automakers are starting to get in the game, and I'm gonna get into that after this little recent bit of good news. I know this is the wave report, but we're talking about saving our coastlines here, folks, and every little bit of clean energy helps. And this recent bill in Rhode Island is certainly lending to the effort to fight climate change. Recently, Rhode Island legislators required solar on all newly constructed buildings and large parking lots. And I'm just going to give that a big old hell yes for everybody, especially those of us here on the coastlines. And just wanted to note that this is from Steven Cybertruck. So we were talking a little bit about the Cybertruck, so not entirely unrelated. Um, the question being, should solar be required on all new parking lots and buildings? And for me, I think the answer is yes. I mean, the buildings, rooftops provide this resource for us. And if we require new buildings to have solar on it, we could eventually get to around 25 to 30% of total energy needs being met by solar on rooftops and over parking lots in the United States, possibly even more. There's a lot of parking lot space in the United States. So that figure that I just quoted you is a conservative figure. And with just rooftop solar itself representing 30% of the energy production for the United States, that's more than coal right now. So that is just a huge resource that we could take advantage of for our domestic energy production, helping us to become more energy independent. And then on top of that, we are moving more rapidly to save so many of the beautiful parts of our world, like the coastlines that we also love and enjoy. All right, so I did talk about trucks, but we're talking about electricity to charge the trucks and charging stations for trucks. And Tesla has this massive network of superchargers. And this is a major infrastructure that makes it easy to be an EV owner. And as an EV owner myself, I have just got to say that Tesla's investment in the charging network was critical for me as an EV driver and for Kat and I as a family to access clean energy for our transportation. So it is critical that we do mass deploy charging stations, particularly fast charging stations even in those rare events that you're on like long trips, you still want that added security to have that fast charge when you need it. And Walmart, of all places, is planning to build a fast charging network, which I think is a smart move for their business and very good for we, the people here in the United States, who right now are facing some gnarly stuff from climate crisis and really need everyone to get on board to help keep back those extreme weather events, keep back that sea level rise, keep back those impacts to our crops that we all rely on, and all the other and to our homes, to our infrastructure. We don't need to have all this extra damage. We're working as hard as we can to make a good life now, and the more clean energy we get, the easier it gets for us. The less clean energy we get, the more fossil fuels we get, the harder it gets for us. So Walmart's planning to build these fast charging networks, and apparently right now they've got 1,300 EV fast charging stations available, but they're planning to rapidly scale charging stations to stores, adding thousands of new EV charging stations by 2023. And for me, from my point of view, can't happen fast enough. I want more EV options. I really do love the Cybertruck, but these other trucks that are coming out, these other and the other EVs that are coming out are very appealing. And I'm going to focus a bit on trucks because, I mean, in America we have this truck culture, um, and many of the sales for vehicles generally in the United States come from SUVs and trucks. So getting into trucks for EVs would be just a major boon for the United States, for our economy, and for our energy use, for our efficiency, and then it's just amazing. These electric vehicle trucks are just fantastic. And then here on the Outer Banks, having a truck actually has utility. We've got places out here like Kerala where you've got to drive across beach and sometimes ocean to get to Kerala. I mean, I took a trip out there twice now. Um, Once in this little sedan, which was pretty hairy. So you don't really want to be driving on the beach in a non four-wheel drive vehicle. So having trucks here in the Outer Banks is actually utilitarian. And in addition, we've got risks of flooding from heavy storms and, yes, sea level rise. And with those electric vehicles, you don't have a tailpipe, so you don't have to build a snorkel to get that wheezing internal combustion engine to keep going. That the battery doesn't need oxygen to provide your vehicle with charge. So if you have to go through high water, um, having electric vehicles is a really good thing. And then on top of that, if you've got a truck, you got the high wheelbase, which also helps you move through high water if you need to. And there are a lot of low-lying areas out here in the Outer Banks, and the whole place is pretty prone to flooding in the event of a nor'easter or a tropical system. So, and we're probably going to see those impacts. I'm gonna probably be recording a lot of storm impacts here on the Outer Banks. We've gotten a lot of pictures of waves from nor'easter type events lately. Since I've been here, we haven't had any severe flooding events, but it's coming, guys. I mean, I knew what I was getting into when we moved out here. So, but we'll definitely be providing you guys with some videos of that. And an electric vehicle, electric truck, particularly, is a very utilitarian option for coastal regions like the Outer Banks. And right now, we are seeing the entrance of all kinds of new electric trucks. We've got the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is an extraordinarily high demand electric vehicle. We've got a new all-electric 2025 Dodge Ram, which that didn't work out. I was trying to click through. Here we go. Which just looks amazing. This thing is expected to have a 500-mile range, massive battery pack, supposed to come out in 2025. Can't happen soon enough, in my opinion. So this one's coming out. The Ford F-150 Lightning this year projected to produce between 80,000 and 100,000. They might get to their 150,000 goal, but I don't think they will this year. But nonetheless, the Ford production facility for the Lightning is rapidly expanding. Um, some of the figures that I've seen project 500,000 Ford F-150 Lightnings per year by 2025. So that would be amazing. Right now, it's worth noting that all of the Ford F-150 Lightning is sold out. I think they have something like 200,000 reservations. So quite a lot in the way of reservations for the Ford F-150 Lightning. And yeah, so I've already talked about the Ford F-150 Lightning, and then let's get into some of the other electric trucks. Now, this new Chevy Silverado is also a very appealing electric vehicle, and here it is on a stage with two other electric vehicles, the new Blazer EV and the Equinox EV, all by Chevy. And these look like fantastic electric vehicles, crossover SUV types and trucks. Silverado, I believe, is a 400-mile class EV and has a lot of just very appealing features. So with the Cybertruck, the Dodge Ram EV, the Ford F-150 Lightning, and the Chevy Silverado EV, we're looking at some amazing electric trucks rolling on to the market over the next year or two here in the United States with very large, substantial production lines. And then in addition to that, of course, we've got the Rivian, which is already available. Right now, I believe Rivians are being produced at a rate of about 50,000 per year. So lots of good offerings coming for trucks in the EV market over the next year or so, which is just really exciting. We are certainly charging forward. And then in addition to that, we've got companies like Walmart that are committing to mass deploying charging stations, and we've got states like Rhode Island. The blue states are really moving forward on clean energy, and I've got to put my heart behind the blue states. They are doing the right thing. Red states are being laggards as they typically are. I don't know what's gotten into the Republicans lately. They are just doubling down on mean and just dumb and power grabbing, and it's just bad. It's un-American. You guys need to get your American act together and stop being jerks because some of your philosophy has been proven wrong. I mean, come on, we need some conservatives in this country, but we don't need conservatives to be idiots and jerks. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. Good news. EV sales total for this year are projected to be 1 million. So that is a substantial portion of the market, between 7 and 8% of the market likely to be electric vehicles this year. And in the coming years, major leaps ahead, which means that US oil demand is going to start going down, and it means that our emissions are going to start to go down. And even though this is a very positive move, we need to step it up and step it out, because the impacts from climate change are coming, and they are coming at us hard. And if you look outside like I do today and just see some beautiful weather and the birds tweeting, it doesn't mean that climate change isn't happening. It's what climate change does is it loads the dice for extreme events, and we've already had the dice loaded. We've already had more extreme events, and and the more fossil fuel we burn, the heavier loading we get on that dice, and the more Godzilla kind of events that we tend to see. And in addition, we just see more rapid sea level rise. I'm going to talk a little bit about sea level rise as we get into the wave report today. A long preamble today, but good news, and I wanted to share the good news with you guys here on this Monday, April 10th, the day after Easter. Good Monday to all of you. All right, so let's get into some of the weather reporting for the OBX wave report. And right now we've got looks like small craft advisories up for most of the Outer Banks, gale warnings to the south. We still have strong winds in the range of 20 to 25, maybe getting close to 30 miles per hour in some places, but the intensity of the northeast winds is starting to calm down. We have very large waves across the Outer Banks in the range of 5 to 12 feet in some locations. Just big, gnarly surf because we've had this long blowing northeast wind picking up the swells, making those waves big as the force of the wind carries across the water in what we call fetch over a long period, and then hurls those big ass swells at us over here at the Outer Banks. And so that's what we got. We got some big ass waves, big gnarly rough waves, only for advanced surfers. I'm not getting out into it. The turquoise ocean goddess who lives with me would probably kill me if I did. I mean, I'm going to be working on my skills. My confidence level has definitely come up. So maybe eventually, once I get to be even more of a tough guy than I already am, I'll get out there in it. But right now, it's a no. We're gonna get out into the water tomorrow though. The waves look a lot better tomorrow. They're gonna be big, but they're not gonna be unruly like they are today. But I don't know. Brett Barley and some of the other famous surfers who are highly advanced might get out into the waves today. Looking at the wind maps, and these are surface wind maps, but they do tell us a lot about what's going on. And so we've got those strong winds coming in from the northeast in the range of, let's see, on the map here, about 22 to 25 miles per hour in the near offshore environment. You can see the front as this line here of convergence between the winds. We've got the winds coming in from the north, and that those are being driven by a pressure gradient. There's a high pressure cell over Virginia right now that's settling into the Outer Banks. And then we've got the trough along the front, which is creating this gradient, which is driving these winds. And the winds are running all the way from well east of Newfoundland down to the Gulf of Mexico. So strong winds across a big swath of the Atlantic. And then you've got another massive high pressure system just off of Spain, which is driving a flow all the way from Africa to the Caribbean. So those are those are actually three major features that are helping to drive the strong winds and the fetch that we are seeing here in the Outer Banks. Looking at the satellite shot, we can see the stalled front down to the south over the Gulf of Mexico and out into the North Atlantic. Not looking as intense as far as storminess today, but we have had some pretty intense storminess, so we deserve a break, right? All right, so getting into the enhanced cloud tops, you can see those bright clouds of the front on the way offshore. You can see some tropical stuff moving around. We're going to be looking more and more at the tropics as we get into summer. All right, let's do our local wave observations. We're moving on to the local wave observation phase of the OBX wave report, and we're going to start off with Jeanette's Pier because that's where we start. No, thank you, Google. We're using our Google Maps for just informational purposes to get geolocations and things like that. Okay, so starting off at Jeanette's Pier, we've got 5 to 8 foot waves at Jeanette's Pier. The primary swell is coming out of the east-northeast at 10 seconds. That is a 7.5 foot swell. Pretty gnarly down there at Jeanette's Pier, probably. We're going to get down there and get you guys some observations. Later on today, I'm going to be doing some testing because I want to try and do a surfing live stream for you. And we're going to do some testing for that today. Some of that's trade secrets kind of stuff, so I'm not going to tell you all about it, but excited to try for a surfing live stream, and we'll see. We'll see if that works out. Anyway, the winds right now are blowing in the range of 21 miles per hour. That is strong out of the northeast, but not as strong as it has been. Looking just outside here at Manio, I can see the trees dancing in the breeze, and you got those beautiful Carolina cerulean blue skies just popping right in your face. Um, Air temperatures right now, 53 degrees at Jeanette's Pier. Ocean water temperatures up a tick again, warming up again. Yay, we like the warmer waters. I've got this old XL wetsuit that I think deserves a Congressional Medal of Honor for all the stuff I put it through. It is 27 years old. We're going to do a special report on my wetsuit at some point. Kudos to the guys at XL. They built something that could manage me for 27 years. My friends are like, Rob, you got to get a new wetsuit. And I'm like, man, this thing feels like it's like my suit of armor that's falling apart. Like I'm like this old hoary knight that just won't get rid of his gnarly armor. That's kind of the way I feel right now. But okay, in any case, water temperatures there at 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunny today, windy, high in the middle 50s. For another local observation, I'm going to head up to just Bathhouse over here, where the waves are 5 to 6 foot for a spot observation. Then we're going to head on down past Coquina Beach, down past S turns, where the waves are 5 to 9 feet, big waves there at S turns, and then down to Rodanth, where the waves are also 5 to 9 feet with a primary swell coming in out of the east northeast at 10 seconds. That is an 8.5 foot swell, very gnarly down there at Rodanthe right now, according to this. 25 miles per hour winds coming out of the northeast. That is a strong onshore flow. Air temperatures 55 degrees Fahrenheit at Rodanthe. Ocean water temperature 61. We've cracked into the 60s at Rodanthe. It's getting warm down there, guys. It's getting exciting. There's going to be more surfers in the water. I'm not going to have all the waves to myself anymore. I don't know. Do I shed a cold tear, or do I smile for my surfer friends that will be coming out there to go and chase the waves with me? I mean, I don't know. I could cry and smile at the same time and be like a drama face. In any case, it's expected to be sunny, windy, high in the middle to upper 50s today down there at Rodanthe, and then we are going to continue on south on our surf safari in the Outer Banks to the Kinnikit beach access and Avon Fishing Pier, where the waves are 6 to 9 feet. We're going to take a little brief stop there at Avon, say hi to my uncle down there in Avon, aunt and uncle. Hey, Uncle John, thanks for teaching me how to surf. Okay, down to Buxton, heading on down to Buxton, where the Buxton big waves are really hammering down. It's like boom at Buxton right now, where the waves are 10 to 12 feet, massive waves at Buxton. Primary swell coming in at 11 seconds. That is 8.5 feet out of the east. And secondary swell coming in at 6 seconds. That is a 5.5 foot swell out of the northeast. Big waves, big swells, big day at Buxton. Buxton is really going off. It is pretty badass right now. Lots of alliteration because I like alliteration. In any case, winds coming in and out of the northeast at 26 miles per hour. That is strong and onshore. Air temperatures right now at Buxton, 54 degrees Fahrenheit, cooler with those northeast winds. Ocean water temperatures, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer down there at Buxton. Weather conditions, sunny, windy, highs in the upper 50s. We do expect temperatures to warm up as we get into the day tomorrow, and the waves to start to tamp down and become more and more glassy as we head on out through the as we get on into the afternoon and into the morning hours tomorrow. I think I am going to do a dawn patrol tomorrow and go surfing in some nice 3 to 6 foot waves. I am very excited about this. I have been waiting for these surf conditions, and I don't know, maybe tomorrow will be a double up surf day. We shall see. Okay. Now let's get into some climate observations. We did the clean energy preamble, and boy, did we talk a lot about clean energy. The reason why we're talking about clean energy is this bad boy is the climate crisis. And I'm looking at a temperature anomaly map, and globally temperatures are, guess what, above average. We have 0.48 degrees Celsius, 0.49 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures for the whole globe. This is above the 1981 to 2010 reference period, which is already warmer than normal. So it's warmer than an already warmer than normal period, and you guys can do the analysis on that. The Arctic is warmer than normal. The tropics are warmer than normal, and we are going to see some spiking temperatures in the tropics as El Nino starts to develop here, and you can already see the atmosphere responding to the ocean heat off of South America. You're going to start to see this band of above normal temperatures spreading out across the equatorial Pacific, and that's going to wag the whole climate system toward the hotter end as El Nino is expected to continue to develop through the summer and get into an El Nino state by late summer, early fallish 2023. We'll see if that forecast holds, but presently that's what we're looking at with regards to El Nino. The only region of the world that's cooler than normal right now is the Antarctic, and that probably won't last very long. I did want to point out Greenland. Greenland is much, much warmer than normal right now. We've got this big influx of heat coming in from the North Atlantic and from Europe, just punching over Greenland. And we've got in the Celsius range, looks like between 8 and 20 degrees Celsius above normal. 8 and 20 degrees Celsius above normal. That's getting well above, looks like around 30, more than 30 degrees Fahrenheit above normal, possibly 35, 36 degrees Fahrenheit above normal in some locations in Greenland. That's a major departure, and that means that on the Greenland ice sheet, we've got some locations that are above freezing with some downsloping winds moving across the Greenland ice sheet on the west side. And so that is a little bit of a concern. We don't yet have the National Snow and Ice Data Center showing us Greenland melt for the day, but National Snow and Ice Data Center does provide observations of melt on the Greenland surface, and it does look like that Greenland melt is starting ahead of schedule, at least according to what these temperature maps are showing. We would rely on the experts for confirmation of this, but um, an early initiation of Greenland melt is concerning, but it is also consistent with the climate crisis where we just see warmer than normal temperatures, melting glaciers all over the place. And Greenland is a land glacier, and that has implications for sea level rise. So if Greenland's melting early and more, that means that the oceans are rising faster, and we on the coastlines do not like that. That is a big bad. All right, so let's get into some of the forecasts for temperatures and severe weather. Right now, over the next 6 to 10 days, we expect above normal temperatures for the U.S. East. U.S. East and Southeast has seen considerably above normal temperatures for this spring, and this trend appears to be ongoing. For precipitation, we expect to see above normal precipitation running across the Gulf and east parts of the Great Lakes region and parts of the Pacific Northwest, with below normal precipitation starting to settle into California. And that's not good, because if we see a hard swing in California from heavy rains to drought, that's going to up the fire potential there, because you're going to get that vegetative bloom and then it's going to dry out. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but we shall see. Looking at where we expect the storminess, this is the NOAA quantitative prediction forecast. We expect storminess to linger or to be prevalent along the Gulf Coast region and just off the US Southeast coast and off the Pacific Northwest. Everywhere else looks pretty mild and moderate as far as storminess goes over the next 7 days, according to NOAA. And then looking at the Storm Prediction Center's convective outlooks, we do want to keep an eye on thunderstorms because we had so much severe weather in the way of like tornadoes and all that nasty stuff recently. And we just got a potential for severe thunderstorms over parts of Texas and Oklahoma, but nothing too bad today. Getting into Kansas a bit, and then some potential for thunderstorms, but nothing severe for Florida. So nothing too crazy. And I don't believe we're looking at anything too intense over the next few days either. So that is good. Now, getting into our global forecast system model to provide us with a notion as to what kind of weather we will experience here in the US Southeast and the Outer Banks over the next few days. Right now, we've got high pressure settling in. We've got a nor'easter heading offshore, and that's going to continue on for the next couple of days. As the high pressure is expected to strengthen over the southeast, we expect to see warmer conditions here in the Outer Banks, likely temperatures getting into the 60s and 70s over the coming days as things warm up nicely and we get some nice big glassy waves. Over the Gulf, we do expect to see some storminess, and you can see the storminess developing here with that stalled front along the Gulf, but nothing doesn't look like anything is very organized, just kind of thunderstormy conditions over the Gulf, and this will turn into a kind of warm front that will sweep on up the U.S. Southeast coast by Friday, getting into the Outer Banks as we get into Saturday. And then another storm system is expected to gather over the central U.S. come Sunday and Monday, with potential batch for really severe weather here over parts of Texas and Louisiana. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And it doesn't look like anything too crazy for the Outer Banks, just another front sweeping on through by Monday, no major nor'easters. So nothing too major as far as storm events over the next 7 days. Okay, let's get down to the wave models, and let's go to now, because I know that's not now. Um, we are experiencing big waves in the near offshore environment in the range of 8 to 11 feet. So big waves. These swells are oriented from the east, so they're coming in from the east, big beastly waves coming in from the east and slamming into the shores here with that long period wind blowing over the Atlantic Ocean, giving us these big swells. These swells are going to get glassier and cleaner as the day progresses and as those winds start to tamp off. So good waves coming, guys, and soon over like the next few hours, next 12 to 24 hours, depending on your ability. Please gauge the surf and make sure that you're being safe. Then as we get into tomorrow on Tuesday, is this Tuesday? Let's see. Yep. Tuesday, so the swell is expected to drop off as we get into the day tomorrow. Swell ranging from 5 to 7, 4.5 to 6.5 feet in the near offshore environment. This is like really good conditions for most surfers. Pretty big waves, but nothing too crazy. Glassy likely with light wind conditions as that high pressure builds in, and a pretty warm day tomorrow. So just looking like a beautiful surf day tomorrow. Looks really exciting. I'm excited. I'm starting to feel really stoked about it. And then as we get into today on Wednesday, looks like good waves on Wednesday as well, with a swell in the range of 3.5 to 5 feet in the near offshore environment. These swells should line up pretty well, giving us nice 2 to 4 foot waves across the Outer Banks. So good glassy waves in the 2 to 4 foot range on Wednesday. And then as we get into Thursday, waves will tend to fall off into the 1 to 3 foot range, but still glassy, still consistent, and still warm. So it looks like 3 days of good waves coming up here in the Outer Banks. By Friday, the waves are likely to get pretty small. So we might have rather small waves in the range of 1 to 2 feet or less by Friday. So say goodbye to the good waves on Friday. We can thank our nor'easter though for looks like maybe 3.5 days of really good waves ahead. All right, so thanks for joining me for this session of the OBX Wave Report as we feel very optimistic about the waves and as we feel happy about the massive push for clean energy that is ongoing now. Let's get behind it. Let's cheer it on. Let's not be all poo-pooey and cynically and oh, people are bad. We don't deserve good things. Um, let's use our innovation for the good things and let's use our hearts to bring ourselves forward and encourage others to move forward. And let's do everything we can to mass deploy this clean energy: wind, water, solar, electric vehicles, the electrolyzers for the green hydrogen, and save our beautiful coastlines from the impacts of climate change, being sea level rise, more intense storms, and ocean acidification. Ocean acidification just sounds nasty, doesn't it? We don't want to acidify our oceans. I mean, come on, guys. This is really basic stuff. I mean, we can do this. Let's do it. And let's surf some good waves. Tear it up, guys. I look forward to seeing you soon. I will be back with you all with some more